Hello, hi, once again, this is your studio Clarissa, and today is the 11th of August 2025, and my uh, biggest concern still at this time is that midday I still get to experience some fatigue, and but not before I was able to clean the house, do housework continuously. The moment I got up in the morning, this morning. So but it just, after lunch, I took a very brief cat nap, and it restores somehow. So it helps to rest midday, and yeah, I just have to be patient and not push it because last week I did that and I suffered all through the night when I did Zumba and rehearse the songs that I have listed down. Oh my, it's not. I had to take Saturday and Sunday really resting and eating nourishing food. But this morning, today Monday, the week started bright and right for me. So thank God for that. Yeah, but time check, it's 3:51, almost 4 o'clock p.m. This is just a teaser for the next into series because we're going to have a different arrangement here at home. The office, my brother's office is leaving, so it's just going to be my office and personal space or workspace of Lee, and that will leave the other half of the duplex into our social or this receiving area that somehow we can be comfortable receiving guests, something like that, and receiving by me. Finally, we can do some minor repair works, hopefully, but that is just a part of the news that I'm going to share. Wait, and the garbage collector is here finally. Saglit lang! Okay, where was I? So the garbage collector came by and I had to rush to get our garbage out. Yes, so that was a little bit brisk, and I am catching my breath. I am listing down, by the way, the things that I was able to listen that's hard listening, hard to take. I had in some situations I had to listen in without even reacting because like in TC, that's therapeutic community, there were sessions wherein no matter how hard or how indignant or how I felt that somehow I don't deserve or what the things that I am listening to, like if it's about the interpretation of my words and my actions or my behavior. Of course, nobody wants to listen to criticisms or things that the taboo subjects that as much as possible we avoid, or that we want to do it more privately. But sometimes that is a luxury, it's beyond our control, the setting, especially like confrontation. So I am listing down the things that I had heard as a matter of fact, and I would be looking back, pardon me if I tap myself on my back, because I am proud of how I was able to be patient and restrain myself, because the extreme description of supposed to be this Clarissa, yours truly, I would have laughed if not for the seriousness of the situation. And I would laugh because I cannot be the same person being talked about at the same time. But I would have to swallow it because it's part of the session, it's part of the therapy, and that somehow my vindication would not come without the valid evidence or proof, which means that it's only my good faith that that's going to be behind my protestation or my elaboration or my explanation for the answer. And who would believe that kind of sincerity if everyone is already convinced that the culprit is moi? It would take years and a decade before this this evidence would surface, and for the longest time that it was not available, I had to live with a label. I had to live with a description of my actions and my statement. So no untoward incident had happened all throughout, and it's not because I become unfeeling or I had suppressed my emotion or anything like that, because this kind of emotion would show in my writing. It will show in how I have to take a break from everything and put on music or sing my heart out. These are the things that I found to be helpful in dealing with internal turmoil. Some would call it anxiety. Of course, always at all times. I don't have to explain. I don't have to have that holy hiccup. For me, it's a given. I need to pray about it. I had prayed for each time that emotions would dwell, and that I haven't arrived yet. I haven't found the perfect peace, because Jesus Christ is yet to arrive. His second coming. That's what we believe, right? So there is no perfect peace, and that a wishful thinking is not in denial or suppressing or repressing emotion. It's just that from the word, the reminder that in this life we will have trouble, we will have problems, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So this is not suppressing it, and this is not repressing it. And if the biggest hurdle, if the biggest problem, like the fear itself of that's facing all of us, the end of this life, what comes after, if that has been solved already, so everything in comparison, so relative speaking, I'm so glad that I have learned to live it, not just as a not as a part of to-do list, like a poster or a slogan or bumper sticker, or that I would, of course it's always welcome to be reminded of that. It's only a reinforcement, but I'm just so glad that I was able to practice it in touch and go moments. And let me elaborate through the illustration. The things that I have heard told me, like Clarissa, get real. You are not living in reality. So the context of that, I just have to share. And then after some years, the reason behind the statement is completely the opposite. But now that cryptic posts will have to be explained by me and my lawyer, of course. So the cryptic posts of others would have to be explained also. So what are the chances that no living person would claim me as his bride or as his wife? I am a Christian. I have not renounced my faith in favor of a religion which will the rule of law would have a different meaning. So what are the chances that if there would be no living man, no man who is alive, will claim the title? There are days that I would say it's a burden to that man, and it's somehow on other days it's a privilege for that man that I am the wife who is like separated from him physically, because the truth is I wouldn't know that he exists, and that of course that is very, very questionable for a man and a woman who's supposed to be a couple not to know each other, not even the name. So let me elaborate through the illustrations. Before I start, I believe that I don't have to mention the name because they will know, they will remember that they are the one, he or she was the one who had told me this, or that there had been an occasion wherein he or she had said this, paraphrase of course, for we don't have the time to I don't have the time to dwell on it, but what had stuck to my memory was the effect of these words. Like for instance, day one, on a certain date, which I would refer to as day one, I was asking, where are my music? Am I a recording artist? Do I have a manager? Do I have a team that's working also in like representing me, putting my music out there, working for the best interest of their client, and am I one of those clients? By the way, after so many attempts without a result, I had introduced myself as Mrs. A, and I was I had used my perfectly good legs and good feet, and I had enough money for transportation to find out. Like I had a tip that he had left Lucena City and he was living elsewhere. So I had, taken a bus trip, but I wasn't able to get the exact address. So it was no use. I had to come home without any incident. It's just that I was tired. I had used up my allowance, and my objective was not served. So it was one of those frustrating days, but no untoward incident had happened. No one was hurt, no one was accosted, no one was harassed. So I jotted it down as me working for my to remedy my situation, to get answers. Was I a recording artist at this time, and who was supposed to be representing me? Is there a manager that I should consult with? So those questions were not answered. And I am Mrs. A. Yeah, that's when I had begun to, a sudden, I really thought it was a brilliant idea until it was not. So day two, on a certain date, certain situation, Clarissa, you are delusional. You are not Mrs. A. So I heard that. Very definitive statements. Okay, I had written about it, that moment, that confrontation. Day three, on another date, another setting. This is me speaking. I am not Mrs. A. I am Mrs. Garcia. I am Clarissa Garcia, wife to Joaquin Garcia. So that is, day 3. Day 4, yes, another date. Somebody told me, a person, after submitting the personal effects of a Mrs. Garcia, I had encountered paperwork which would communicate to me that I was either a liar or suffering from a dementia, because there was no record for a Mrs. Joaquin Garcia, but my name had personal information that's not mine, but it can be printed. It's all there. Either I was delusional or suffering from dementia, Alzheimer's, because either I was single, a childless woman, or a wife of someone who cannot be spoken with, because the real Clarissa, who had the bank records and who's supposed to be enjoying some kind of pension or lump sum, that is not who I was. So from the dates that I had, years in fact, the records will show that personally, physically, I was able to produce the credentials, but the moment that I will receive the result of correct application would be in the US or in Metro Manila, and in the current year of 2025. So no amount of personal appearance and of giving my valid IDs those attempts were not able to get me processed. Yes. So that's day 4. Day 5. Hello, I am Clarice D. I am a musician, a vocalist, and I am Mrs. G, and now I am a widow. And then day 6, no comment, we don't know who you are. So in all the progression of the conversations that I had participated in, will it bewilder anyone if this all doesn't end up, and now that 2025 it is it a bewildering turn-off event to find ourselves being asked to put on paper a clear legal position, because what had transpired really defied common sense, and to say that they had been confusing is the least of them all. Am I sharing the name, the personal information with other women who also should be represented? And we are going to I know that the general perception about the proceedings, judicial proceedings, that they are adversarial, but they can also be like a mediation. The purpose of a mediation is to sort things out. I'm sure that all of us would be, would not challenge the clerical error, or although if it had never been corrected, or that no amount of petition for correction was able to correct it. Somehow, after so many years, that finally we are here, and that a competent person, a competent authority vested by law, to assess and to mediate the submitted position paper. Now we are going to have a chance to ask the question and to be required of an answer that can explain the why did it happen in such a way. Also, all throughout the years that had passed, when I had been labeled as not possessing of sound mind, because I had been honest in in my answer, like yes, there was some sort of an understanding. Some others would call it, mutually understanding each other, a mutual understanding of some sort. And I know it's a cliche. I don't know what else to, because right now it had been acceptable, but during those times you have to put label in it. Now you go without label, just dating, not exclusively or exclusively. We as a society, we have gotten so good at putting labels or removing the labels with the label that we assign, right? Whatever that means. Anyway, my perception at that time was that I can be dumped, but I cannot dump. I would have to always be at the receiving end, that I had no power to cut any relationship that has not been deemed as over, that was in times past. And I would hear like to the effect like, you were not dumped. There's no need to break a relationship also. There's no relationship. You are just sick, for thinking this way. You are not living in the reality. You have no sense of what's real and what's not. And it was hard to listen. It's hard to listen to those exact words. But I know enough. I trust the process. I was participating in an adversarial proceeding process in and out of court, and it was understandable even then, back then, how the interest can be pursued like in whatever atmosphere, like there is no below the belt means to achieve the interest being waged. So there was no defining line of what's right and what's wrong. Anything can be said because it will not be said. The plausible deniability was in place. Like it was like living in a revolving door. Nothing can be pinned on anyone. There is no malicious intent on whatever will be said and whatever effect. If the only losing party is this person by the name of Clarissa Talaga, then it should be okay. She has no lawyer. She has no one to represent her. Her record had been lost in the system, so there was nothing. That is one perspective. The other perspective is that I have overcome the world. In this life, you will have trouble, but I have overcome the world. If God is for you, who can be against you? So it's no use quarreling about it. That's why I said, if it's just my, my owner's copy that's not reflecting in the system, but I can still remember I have the OR, I have the owner's copy, I have the other evidence to corroborate the authenticity of my owner's copy, but I was the only person saying so. That should be enough, because there is a process that if it wasn't initiated just yet at that date, I know that it will be initiated, and that some things cannot be resolved in one sitting overnight, like in one conversation, in one denial, in one one accusation, one allegation. These things are just part of the process, adversarial process in and out of court. So I just smiled hearing about it, and I'd say, okay, clarified. I accept that I have no proof beyond my sincerity and beyond my good faith. I have no proof that is deemed acceptable to change the mind and opinion about my identification and about my belief of who I was at that time. So years have passed. I was living my own life. My daughters were graduating one at a time. So instead of word war, words and, engaging, my attention, being distracted from what's happening inside our house. I had deliberately, every waking hours was towards fulfilling my obligation. It's not, I don't want to sing my own tunes. Oh, there's somebody outside. Wait, I have to take a pause. So I don't know the exact date or when it happened, but there was no direct reference to what had happened in the past, and there was no direct conversation. I was not being approached for anything. But wherever I go to, within my earshot, within my hearing, I would listen to someone being berated. After it happened so many times, it had been consistent. It had become an everyday sound bites. Someone saying, "You are selfish. Madamot ka kasi. You're not sharing. Gusto mo sa iyo lahat." So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So whenever I go, I would get to hear about it. So, but it's not being said to me. In fairness, I would always get to listen to someone being berated. You are selfish. You are madamot. You're not sharing. Gusto mo sa'yo lahat. Yeah, the theme was being repeated over and over. But on some other days, it would be like, ano bang meron sa tingin mo sa iyo? Like, yeah, even my daughters would say that to me. Mama, what do you think you have that you're not sharing? You have nothing. You have nothing to share. And somehow, in some days, I have to I have to sing my own praises, and I would narrate, I would itemize the things that I've been doing for this family, for this household, for this ungrateful co-owner of this house, when they would make me feel like a burden. Oh my. So and I would also get to hear, you are narcissistic, you don't help out, you don't help others. And then on some other days, what can you possibly do, or what can you possibly have in yourself to be able to help? You're a nobody even talks to you, nobody even pays attention to you. And to have those lines within your earshot. So now that some defamation, what standard will be used, whether I'm just an anonymous person reporting, or the statistics that I have, the earnings that I have. So it would show that I am not as anonymous person walking around here, that I am not as nameless and faceless person after all. So were those words really for me, for my benefit? Because a nameless person who is not really a nameless, but I have some sort of a niche, a name recall, a face recall, walking around. So what is the personal knowledge in this town, to support the one line of legal position that I should not be thin-skinned because I'm already a public figure, or nobody is paying you attention, you're just sick in the mind. So those arguments, can you imagine those those competing narratives killing each other, really, and me as spectator and audience, just listening, just watching, appreciating the effort. It must take some, if they are not spontaneous, then I would appreciate the production scene as it is, or if they are spontaneous, then I have nothing to lose, because I did not react and I just went on living my life. Now that we are going to be asked to divulge some personal knowledge, when was it said? So like what year was the personal knowledge received? Is that the motivations for saying those words to me? If they happen to be so false and so self-serving, and so that if I had been swayed by it, if I had been persuaded, I would have committed or made a decision, or done some actions that would be so against my interest. Yeah, right? Isn't it? So it's something to finally to watch out and compare these. I'm sure I am my views are so juvenile compared to to law practitioners, and the mere fact that it happened to me is the only thing that that makes my statement worthy of being heard and being read if it's a written statement. But other than that, I sure am so willing to, I would be fascinated to watch the back and forth, the battle of wits, and how the law will be presented. Yeah. So since nothing has been confirmed to me, and that most of my words came from deduction, there is always the presumption that, I don't know enough. Yeah. So for now, I am as eager as anybody to await for the statements of those who can, without, beyond reasonable doubt, they do possess, they have the personal knowledge, and to act how best to pursue their interest through that personal knowledge, be it for their interest or for the interest of whoever it is. So this is yours truly, Clarissa, and yeah, the value of my words are not for everyone, but for someone and some people. And I hope that you are well wherever you are, in your part of the world, and that you are in the best of health. Or if not, if you had health episodes just like me, I hope that you are also healing and recuperating and getting better day by day, just like me. Thanks.